5:32 now. Roll call, Dean?
Here.
Karen?
Here.
Laura? Sam?
So,
Here, sorry.
Sorry. Sorry.
She's
Mark.
walking.
She's
She's on a
What are you-
treadmill.
Oh, that's funny.
I'm here.
Fine, yeah.
I'm not walking.
Okay, Pledge of Allegiance.
Flag, it's right there. Cardinal flag.
Oh, yeah, there it is.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Oh, Kelly's back with us. Yay.
Hi, how you doing, May?
Good, how are you?
Doing great.
Awesome.
Missed all of you last month.
What's that? Did you miss
It was virtual, so, yeah. I guess I was down south. In the murder. Okay, approval of agenda. I had one very minor change in the agenda, and I don't think it would have any legal thing, but in IF, executive session, has a sections and it said limited personal matters, and it should be personnel.
I saw that.
And I don't know, the language in the state, who knows when they're gonna be nitpicky.
I'll motion to approve the agenda as amended.
Okay, wait.
Second.
Oh, you guys, hold on.
First and second, I need a roll call.
Yeah, you.
I know, right?
Who moved? Karen?
Martin seconded.
Martin seconds. Okay, Dean?
Yes.
Martin?
Yep.
Sam?
Yes.
And Karen?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay, approval of minutes. I looked through the minutes. I didn't see any changes. Did you?
I did not.
If Ashley's doing that, well, she's doing a good job.
Awesome.
So tell her.
I will tell her.
Okay.
She'll be happy to do it.
I'll entertain a motion to approve minutes.
So moved.
I'll second.
We have a first and a second. We need a roll call.
Dean?
Yes.
Martin?
Yep.
Sam?
Yes.
Karen?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay, governing council input. And we have planned our retreat for the 29th of March. And Tracy has a potential conflict where she might not be able to be there full time. And so we need to, I think the big question is, do we want to move it? Or, we talked about having some of the meeting with just the board. And we might be able to work around Tracy so that she said it's going to be about 3 hours probably that you'll need. So we could work around that way. What do you think, Sam? Because
I think
do
that
you-
works fine.
to keep it
Yeah,
the
I think we should
29th?
keep the date. Yeah.
That's a Saturday.
Yes.
Yeah.
where
So-
is it?
I think it's at my office in
Okay.
town.
I hope it is.
That's what I have on the
Yep.
board, on the
Yep.
calendar.
There we go.
Right. And we talked about having some time as like just a board to kind of hash out some things, and then, so I think that makes perfect sense.
Okay.
So my request would be that you do that first, and I join you after. I mean, I can get somebody to step in for me, but I want to be there for it to start. Because
So start, then take a break, and then come back.
I'll tell you what it is. It's our first annual school choice fair in Taos. So it's all 9 charter schools in our county are coming together for this.
That's great.
And then, so if I could go for a little while, and then maybe I'll recruit. She's like,
Yeah.
There's nobody to hide behind over there.
It's perfectly fine with me. I'm all for it.
So what you're saying is you would be there at the beginning,
So, yeah,
and
I
then
would be.
and then we'd take a break. You would go and do what you need to do, and then come back later, or?
No, that you guys get started and you have your time together. I'm hearing, I was told maybe 2 or 3 hours together. That seems like a
Yeah.
lot.
And then back.
That's what,
Are you saying that you just join us in the afternoon, Tracy? Like we'd start together in the morning and then you join us in the afternoon?
right,
That'd be great.
But you said you also want to join in at the start.
no.
Oh, you
No.
didn't? Okay, I misheard you. Okay, good. We
With-
do our
with
thing
the-
and we catch you in the
Yeah.
afternoon or later.
Perfect.
That sounds good to me too.
Good.
So that makes it a lot easier than
Yeah.
having to reschedule.
What time did we say we're gonna start? 9?
We said
9:30.
9:30 is what we said, I think. Does that sound good to you, Sam?
Yeah, that sounds fine.
Okay.
And I'll just come then after lunch.
Okay.
That sounds good.
I get the last thing.
So,
Tracy, then I-
Sam,
Yeah, okay.
I think I see it as you, since the retreat is really about the future, I see it as you running a lot of the meeting, do you need any help from me with anything?
My plan, to be perfectly candid with all of you, is I've thought about the agenda, but I haven't actually put anything on paper yet because I'm still working the legislative session. But I should have a review probably by Friday in terms of agenda.
You're cutting out, I didn't hear the last
She'll have
part.
a review by Friday.
By Friday, okay.
Did you? Yeah,
By
sorry.
By this coming Friday then.
Yeah, something to review in terms of agenda.
Good, good.
And if there's
Big
anything pressing that anyone wants to, talk about, please just email me. I'll happily add it.
Okay, that sounds great to me. Does that sound good to you guys?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so that'll be really great to have that agenda and me
Thanks.
not to make it up too. That's great. So appreciate you doing that.
Yes, Kelly.
Hi, Dean, this is Kelly. I apologize. I am not going to be able to be there. I have a friend of mine who's going into the hospital for a bone marrow transplant. And he's going in that day. And so I'm afraid I'm not going to be able to be a part of it. I'm sorry.
Okay. I remember last year you were at our retreat and you were a big help then, so we'll miss you, but I'm sure we're capable too.
Well, and absolutely, and the work that you guys have been doing, and your training hours are fine. You're finished basically with your training hours. So, so I would really love to be there, but I just unfortunately I'm not going to be able to get away.
Okay.
But I'll be around. I'll be at the next meeting and would love to hear all the feedback and everything. And you guys sound like you have a solid agenda. I love the idea of the board getting together and doing some internal work and then bringing Tracy in. I think that's a really solid plan.
Okay, great. Sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for giving us, yeah. Okay, anything else under governing council input?
I won't be able to be at graduation this year.
Oh,
I have
miss
a
you.
conference I have to be in Alberta. And I don't get out till 5.
You gonna be able to be there, Martin?
I was gonna say, what date is graduation?
16th of May.
I don't see any constraints as of now.
Okay.
I'm going to put it on my calendar so it doesn't.
Good, good. I like having as many there as we can get, It
I
just
hate to
looks better.
miss.
Yeah.
What time does it start?
What's that?
Do we know what time? Is it in the morning?
2 p.m.
2 p.m. Thank you, Jamie.
2 p.m., okay.
Add it to the calendar.
Yeah, I'll put it in my calendar, then we can look it up. Sounds good. Okay. Any more governing council input? Okay, public input. We have call for input on the 25-26 budget, but there's no public here to give input, so I guess we can skip over that part.
We'll still give it because it goes in the notes,
Sure.
and then people that aren't here can read them.
Okay, sounds good. Okay, financial reports, you're up, Deanna.
Hi, everyone.
Hi.
So I sent out financial reports on Friday. So you should have all gotten those.
Yep.
And we're just starting to get ready for all the legislative changes and getting ready for our budget. Regular work is going on. We're just catching our breath between things. Um, did anybody have any questions for me over what was sent out?
I don't see any questions, Deanna.
Okay, sorry. I'm looking for something real quick. And you all saw that the audit has been released. And we had no findings. The foundation
Had zero findings.
Well done.
we had no findings. The
Chairman,
school had no findings.
The school had
The
no findings.
foundation had one finding. It's a repeat finding, and it's material weakness. So we do have some plans for that. Um, and the or the audit committee may want to get together for that one, just to make sure that gets taken care of. Because it is a repeat finding.
Well, I think we ought to congratulate Tracy on not
Yeah.
having any findings.
Absolutely.
That
Oh,
takes a lot of
all
well,
of you.
no, Pam and Deanna are definitely watch what's going on, and between the three of us and you
It's a
guys.
team.
Finance committee.
It definitely takes a team. So
It's a team for sure.
So on these bars, do we need to approve these bars?
yes, I have bars for you. That's what I was looking for real quick. So bar 13 is an increased bar for we're getting feedback again today. Fund 24160 for the rural and low income schools in the amount of $11,694. This is based on the carryover and final award letter. Bar 14 is an increased bar for Fund 11,000 operational in the amount of $255,484. This is carryover from the prior year. Remember, when we're budgeting, I budget what's expected to be there. And if we bring over encumbrances with us, we have more than expected. So, and that happens a lot when we're doing projects. So that's what that's from. Bar 15 is an increased bar for Fund 23,000, our activity account, in the amount of $3,424. And that's carryover money from prior year funding as well. Bar 16 is an increased bar for Fund 31703, our SB9 state match, in the amount of $1. This is carryover from the prior year funding. Bar 17 and bar 18 were not needed and avoided. Bar 19 is an increased bar for Fund 24189. This is Title IV in the amount of $111 and is based on a carryover and final award letter. And that's the bars I have for tonight. There's, I can't hear you guys.
Are we going to motion to approve all together?
Yeah, we are, but Karen had a question, and evidently you guys aren't hearing it.
Yes, we didn't hear anything.
Okay, so my question was, when you bar for revenue increases, do you bar the expenditures for those right away?
Yes. So, and usually we just go look at kind of where we are in the budget and where we might need some money. So those have been moved around. When we put in our audit, so this is something that's different from when you were a business official. Karen, they started doing an audited cash balances. We have to put in our audited cash balances, And then it automatically creates a bar in OBMS for that from the audit. And then we go in and fill it out where we want it to be.
Okay. Any more questions for Deanna? Okay, I'll entertain a motion to approve the motion to approve. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, we have a first and a second. We need a roll call.
Dean,
Yes.
Martin,
Yes.
Sam,
Yes.
and Karen.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay, we have somebody on the phone. Is that Laura or who's on the phone?
Yeah, that's me. It's Laura.
I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah, the Google link did not work for me. I tried it 2 or 3 times, so I figured I would use the phone.
Okay, but we're happy to have you. So thank you for calling in. Right. Okay, the Finance and Audit Committee met and we reviewed several expenditures and they were pretty standard things, but they, for one reason or another, they stood out. So we reviewed them. We discussed the finances and that's about it. So I'll call for a motion to approve the financial committee update.
I'll motion to approve the finances for, it's January? That's what we did.
It's January, yeah.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a first and a second. We need a roll call.
Dean,
Yes?
Laura,
Yep.
Martin,
Yes.
Karen,
Yes.
Sam.
And
Yes.
It kind of threw me. I was listening on this side for Tracy and all of a sudden from over there comes a voice. So,
She was working on something else on the net, so I got it.
okay. Operations and instructional reports, a foundation report. Karen?
Here we go. Okay. I again apologize for sending out the financials so late. We had our regularly scheduled quarterly meeting, February 5th. Believe it or not, we were snowed out on our January date. We had that big storm in January. So we had to, we got it as soon as we could in February. As you saw in the financials, bank balance right now is $48,153. We have $23,000 in allocated funds, so the current balance is $24,528 in the bank. That was as of the end of January. We have Swinehart CPA that's working on our 2023 taxes. They filed for an extension, and they're now due in May. So they said they'd have them for us, sometime in April. They had an employee quit. Usually they have them by now, but they had an employee quit and they're a little behind the 8 ball. So they're a little late on that. They have also taken care of the audit finding for us. Basically, it's a misplaced facility payment. We had it last year and I was getting together with Bill for that, and then unfortunately he passed away before we could get together. Sent him to Deanna, and before she could get to him, Swinehart was doing our taxes because I can only share QuickBooks with one person.
Right.
We have that, we want to spend a bunch of money on QuickBooks. So I asked Swinehart to deal with it, and so they've taken care of it and said it should be resolved from here forward. I will be sending the QuickBooks back to Deanna once I get them back from Swinehart, so she can just double check that whatever Swinehart did, we're all good to go.
Yep. I'm curious, when there is a finding for the foundation, does it affect the school in general or just the foundation?
That's a Deanna Tracy question.
It's a component unit, so depends on what you consider effect. I mean, it is on our audit, but it's not our audit, it's their audit. So, but it's something we have to answer to, yes.
Sure. That makes sense.
And then also in January, our Live Oak CD investment rolled over at 4.4%. We just kept the money in there and just keep on reinvesting that. And really, that's it. We're not really dealing with much other than that CD.
The CD's a money market.
Yes,
Okay. So it's not invested in equities or anything.
no,
Good.
no, it's not.
That's good.
No, no. Yeah, thanks for asking.
Okay.
Do you guys have any questions for me about what's going on with the foundation?
Who's the person you work with at Swinehart?
Sydney?
Oh, good.
Yeah, she went to school with my daughter. They were really good friends and volleyball team members together in school.
Good.
So
She's really sharp.
Yeah.
I like her.
yeah, her daddy taught her well.
Yeah.
I used to have it with Doug. I mean, I used to meet with Doug and we started with him, but then once he retired, he passed it on to Sydney.
Good.
Yeah. Yeah,
I like
she's a smart cookie. She's got it together.
Okay. Director of Programs. See, there you are, Jamie.
Right in the car.
Hey, can you guys hear me okay? Just give me a thumbs up if you can hear me okay. Yeah, all right, thanks. Okay, so lots going on in our world. So we just recently had our,
The little one.
oh, sorry, Mary, can you mute that in?
I'm gonna mute.
Okay, thank you. So we just recently had our college and career explorations fair on the 27th. That was hosted by our Family and Community Engagement SWIFT team. It was held on the 27th. We had 32 presenters participate, and along with our student attendees from the 8th through 12th grade, we were joined by a couple of schools from the Northern Charter Alliance. Both Taos Integrated School of the Arts and Taos International School brought their 8th grade students over. So it was a well-attended event, and for our 4th annual, it went well. All right, so then we had, and an invitation went out to all of the Northern Charter Alliance schools. Then, of course, recently we had National Honor Society and our High School Student Advisory Council hosted a winter carnival on February 15th. Our students raised $756. And then additionally, they participated on March 1st with the Town of Taos Dr. Seuss event. They did face painting and balloon animals and just supported our community in that way for that event. They are planning, the high school honor society and the senior class are planning an upcoming bake sale to raise monies for the senior class. And that is going to take place on April 11th. So just a few of the little things that are going on. We had our monthly community council meeting on February 26th. We hosted a special presentation by Dr. Moodley and some of her students in honor of Black History Month. And something that has taken place and that we are working on is labeling or changing temporarily the name of our equity council to at-risk council, and working with those areas of DEI. And that's been well attended. What are we there for? And how are we supporting all students? Okay. And of course, let's see, testing. We're in that season. We have already completed all of our access testing, and that's our EL students, our English language learners. That is done at 100%. The window just closed on Friday. In science, math, reading, and writing, the ASR will take place, that's the assessment of science readiness, is 5th, 8th, and 11th graders, and that will take place from March 26th through April 1st. Then the SAT, which is required for all juniors, all 11th grade, that will take place on April 8th. That window is open till the end, till April 25th, and we'll catch any students that still need to take that test. Then the New Mexico Measures of Student Success and Achievement, that test will take place for 5th through 8th graders on April 17th and 14th. And we do have until May 2nd to get 100% of our middle schoolers tested there. We do have to we have a 95% participation threshold for the school that is set by the state, and we will do our due diligence in making sure all students that are present at Taos Academy within the test window complete all testing. And then, of course, upcoming STEM Institute stuff. We just had our Q3 STEM night last Thursday, March 6th. It was following our student-led conferences. We had every single class participate, everything from culinary, our computer science coding, mini science fair, native studies participated for the first time. Music is back, middle school and high school, and our theater middle schoolers performed. And then we were joined by live in action. Our esports teams had matches, and it was open to viewers on that day. So we just started our Q4 STEM classes. Actually, that will start tomorrow. Registration is open until after spring break. And then we have things that are happening now during break and beyond. We have the regional science fair. We have esports playoffs and state tournament. If they make the playoffs and make it to the state tournament, that'll happen in mid-April. In Albuquerque, we have, of course, proms happening coming up, and then our big, huge May 1st celebration of learning, where during the school day itself, we will have our senior capstone presentations, and then, of course, our school-wide event in the evening. Now, of course, I'm going to go back to some of our state testing, and I'm going to project. And Mary, I want you to unmute and let me know that you can see this math data. Is it there? Let me just zoom out a little bit.
We can see it.
Is that better? All right. Okay, so here we are. We have two sets of data in here beyond. So we have our fall to winter, middle of year testing for the whole school. Well, I'm going to talk about growth and achievement as a whole. So, and then of course, how we're doing grade level wise, and then a little bit insight onto the students that were with us for an entire year from last winter to this winter, and how they are performing. So as you see on your screen, you should be able to see the whole school, 225 students. Growth, we were on average at the 49th percentile, which is really good. That means our students are making what we expect on average a year's growth in a year's time. That is about where they should be, around the 50th percentile. And if you look at, and this is math, they scored in terms of achievement at the 50th percentile and improved to the 51st percentile as a whole school. So you can see that there. And then I'm going to take you down to a little breakdown by grade. You can see each grade level, their growth, their achievement in the fall. That's in our September testing. And of course, now in our January, February testing overall, you'll be able to see, of course, it goes from the lowest 20th percentile is the red, 20th to 40th percentile is the orange, the yellow is the 40th to 60th percentile, and then of course 60th to 80th and 80th and beyond is the blue. And a little insight, our sixth graders had the highest math growth and achievement across all increase across all grade levels. Our seventh graders had the lowest math growth across all grade levels. And of course, our 11th and 12th graders had the highest achievement at the 60th and 61st percentiles overall. That's in math. And then our reading, of course, all students were tested again. The as a whole for the school, our students had the growth percentile on average of 47th percentile. That's pretty good. achievement went from 61st to 60th. So they're still within that standard deviation and achievement, and as a whole school. And of course, with our students, each grade level. And like I said, I sent this each to you if you want to look a little bit more in depth at it, and to discuss it or ask questions later on. I am always open to those questions. So reading, 10th grade had the highest growth at the 66th percentile across all grade levels. And 5th grade had the lowest reading growth and achievement across all grade levels at the 27th percentile for growth and 25th percentile for achievement. I do want you to keep in mind we're talking about a group of 8 students. So it's not a statistically sound group to measure, but we are focusing on that group. And of course, our 9th and 10th graders had the highest reading achievement at the 65th percentile. The average achievement for high schoolers was for overall was greater than the 60th percentile, which was around where our proficiency sits, about the 53rd percentile. So pretty much more than half of our high schoolers, they're all averaging proficient. So what are we doing with all of this data? Is the teachers are using the data to support instruction and identify student needs. Some teachers are using the information to guide enrichment lesson planning. The targeted area approach is most noticeable if you go back and look at the 6th grade math enrichment and planning. They had growth at 84%. And the 10th grade reading scores also, and what they're doing in that class, those classes, they've seen great improvements. Each advisor is meeting with students individually to set goals and improve and select areas of improvement and focus. And of course, the families participated in discussions during our student-led conferences as students shared their data. And then, of course, we're also doing things like focused student interventions, and Dr. LaBella can talk a little bit about that. But we have teachers completing student interaction logs and recording what students they're helping, what strategies they might be using, how long they've spent with the students, and that's taking place in Middle School Plus and SSL. Then in those areas in Middle School Plus and SSL, students complete a daily SMART goal setting worksheet and what they're going to accomplish and do during the day. And of course, each day before they leave, they complete a reflection and how they did with their goal setting and did they achieve their goals or not. And some advisors are using what we call Khan Academy mappers, where they input their students' scores, and it provides, and they also using SAT practice, where it provides areas of need, support like lessons, activities, just extra practice. And this past Friday, we also had each teacher and advisor has to graph their student performance. And past Friday, all the teachers walked around to have the opportunity to observe what each teacher is using to demonstrate their growth, and how it's available in their classrooms. And there was discussion on what they did and what they might want to change and so on. So then, of course, I want to just give a brief little introduction showing of how our students that were with us at least 2 semesters, so from January of 2024 to January of 2025. And so those are students that participated, have been at Taos Academy for 2 or more semesters, so more than a year, how they performed. So students in this is reading, their average growth is at the 57th percentile overall, and achievement increased over a year on average from the 58th percentile to the 61st percentile. And we're talking about 171 students that have been with us that tested during both windows. And then, of course, we also have our math, where we're showing growth greater than the 50th percentile, the 53rd percentile, and achievement there went up 5 points from 44th to 49th. I hear you guys unmuted. And then of course,
Jamie, hang on just a second. So I want to, will you go back up to the reading score for the whole school? This is something that we've seen for years and years and years at Taos Academy, and that is our students gain when they are stayed with us for that 2 semesters. You guys have heard us talk about this since the beginning of time, where if students stay with us, this is the kind of growth we're seeing. So I asked Jimmy to pull this specifically from last year to this year, because that's a better indication, because those are the kids that have been with us for a full academic year.
Okay, and following on that, I'm trying to figure out what, it's a percentile of what? Is this a percentile of how they compare with last year? I'm just trying to figure out what, you understand what I'm saying?
it's a nationally normed test. So it's on average students. So how it is measured is the growth percentiles. The average student should grow on average 50%. So that's that year's growth in a year's time. So when we talk about year's growth, so growth at the 50th percentile, that's where a student should be. Okay, greater than the 50th percentile on average, we're talking about greater than a year's growth in a year's time. So they're not just getting what they need, but they're getting more. Okay. And so that's when we're talking about the growth. And sometimes we have students that are at the higher proficiency levels that grow, they have less to grow, but they do still need to grow. And students in those areas tend to have lower growth across the board, and students that are in the lowest achievement percentiles that are more than a year or 2 behind usually have higher. So what we're seeing is it depends. Those students like 11th and 12th graders have higher growth overall and proficiencies. So those students are still working at making that growth. So when we talk about that growth, it's like based on a national data set. Any and every student who takes the NWEA measures of academic progress testing. And then of course, achievement is what it's correlated 2 ways. It's based on, it's correlated to our state assessments, and it's correlated to national proficiencies. And there are studies that show where those tests and how they align to our state measures. How else can I put this?
It's a national sample then, but you're figuring
Yes.
the percentile of advancement on that test. Okay.
Correct. And then of course this test, it's an instructional level test. So it's not like the students, it tells us where they are 50% of the time. It's an adaptive test. So if a student gets a question right, the questions get harder. If a student gets a question wrong, it gets easier.
Sounds good. Laura, are you there, Laura?
I am.
Yeah. Could you see that chart?
I can see the one that was downloaded, or the one that was shared by email.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I just wanted to make
Yeah.
sure you didn't have anything about comparisons.
Thank you.
Gives you a little bit of a comparison stuff too. So.
Okay, I'm gonna go over the last section here. Can you mute again? Okay, so like Tracy said, we're looking at a year time span or more, students that have been with us for at least a year. And of course, that growth, if you notice that growth in reading, like I said, greater than the average, which means it's beyond the typical of a year's growth in a year's time. And same with mathematics. And the students were growing in the achievement from the 44th percentile on average to the 49th. So that was quite a gain. overall for the past year. We could go back and look at students that have been here longer, but if, as you notice, even on our other report, the students who typically have been with us are usually our high schoolers, 10th grade and beyond. And you'll notice most of their growth and achievement is where we would like them to be in those proficiency levels. And there's still a lot of room to grow. Where we will be focusing individually on a lot of that with our teachers. And I mean, May can talk more about how we're doing interventions at the school to support students going forward and having that academic focus. Any questions for me?
Can we go way back to the beginning of your presentation about the DEI? And then, so what's going on with all of that? And I heard at risk, a new name or something, at risk students or?
So currently there is just with some support and everything from the state equity councils and everything, we're still supporting what we need to, focusing on students and what was I going to say, that the Yazzie Martinez lawsuits and our actions and everything. So there's been some discussion on how do we move our work forward and support that. And so temporarily, our end, we decided to just change the name from Equity Council. And we're working on that, and because we want to make sure that we're here now and beyond to support our students and community with supporting students of all at-risk groups. Does that make sense? Martin, you're muted.
There you go.
This is just a result of our federal election of the president.
Yep.
Just to cut to the chase. So that's what Taos Academy has to do through the state, as the state is advising, in order to comply. We're renaming and doing that kind of stuff. Makes sense.
And right now, you're correct. It's more about temporary, and we don't want to, cause any issues of, drawing lines of what is where certain, but we don't get funding for it. But it is directly tied to the, our equity councils are directly tied to the Martinez Yazzie lawsuit.
I was just curious.
Say it again.
Oh, thank you. I was just curious.
I think the words are flying under the radar.
Yeah.
So
We're flying under the radar.
yeah, we don't want any problems with anybody coming here because there's
Something
a
is called,
program
right.
or there's
I
a word
get
in
it.
our
I just wanted to hear it.
website or that we just kind of flying under the radar. No reason to bring anybody here to check.
I
us.
understand.
Yeah.
I understand.
Okay, you have anything more, Jamie?
I do not, unless you guys have any further questions.
No, I don't, but on the next section with May, I'm not sure whether to talk at the screen or talk at her. So May, it's up to you.
Thanks, Jamie. That's a hard act to follow there, but I'm gonna do my best. Pretty awesome. I'm going to share, Mary, I think I'm trying to share.
You should be able to.
Since I can't.
Says you can share?
Since I can't.
Okay, there's another one. Yeah, there you go.
Okay. So I'm gonna kind of just read through the tax facts here, and I'm gonna piggyback off of some things that Jamie mentioned. And so she did a lot of talking about the data, and what we're doing is when I presented the staffing and some changes I might want to make to Tracy, what I did use was data, and I used the MAP data and licensure to kind of figure out there's a lot you can tell, believe it or not, on things that teachers are posting up there. Like one thing I could see is, we may have to help some teachers get a little stronger in some classroom management. They might not be in the best fit for this particular enrichment, or, these teachers are super, super dynamic and we could use the energy in another grade level, for example. So using that data really helps to get sort of things in place and in motion, and to retest how we help the kids better and how we help them grow better and progress better. So piggybacking off of what Jamie said, that's why map data is pretty important, because we can use it for a lot more than just, making goals and things like that. It really can give you a lot of information. So here, I'll kind of start with the academic goal progression. So we revisited the school-wide goal that we did at the beginning. We revisited again, teachers did that. I gave them some suggestions or comments, asked some questions, where are they now? What do they hope to see? What did they not see? So they could actually use that to drive their instruction. So I gave them feedback on that and a lot of reflection. So, and that's what I do in their walkthroughs, and that's what we do when they do New Mexico Elevate, which is their evaluation. And that's what I do. I ask the questions like, how did it go? How did the lesson go? What do you think needs to change? Hey, what if you tried this? What if you tried that? So I think all of this is really getting the teachers to really open up and kind of see more than just data. They're kind of reflecting on their teaching as well. So I think that is helping us to move some of those gaps.
Do you observe classrooms too?
Yes, I do. In fact, right now, every day, I go in every day. And I talk with kids and I say, hey, what's your goal for today? Hey, I notice you're behind, and I'll send some emails sometimes. Like today I sent an email to, our EA, and I was like, I need you to work with such and such and such and such a student. They're behind. Please make arrangements with the advisors. These are the students we need to tackle right now. So trying to keep up with that so that they're not kind of like falling through the cracks, They've also, I gave them something called a Plan, Do, Study Act. It's a goal setting worksheet. And what they do is they took their first set of semester 1 data and they reviewed it themselves, right? And they kind of said, okay, what's going on in my classroom? What can I do different? What did I do well? And we shared that out with the group. And so it was really good because they got to hear different strategies. Oh, what are you doing? Oh, what are you doing? Or, hey, can you come help me? So that's been very powerful, creating that capacity within our own system, because we have some very, very creative and brilliant teachers. Everybody just does things differently. So sometimes you don't think, hey, I didn't think of it that way. Maybe I should try that. So that's also another very powerful piece. We'll do that again at the end of the semester again, so they can take a look. They did update the posters, so you guys can kind of walk around and you'll kind of be able to see some, where they made growth, where they stayed stagnant, and then what their goals are for the spring. So that's always really good for students to know where they're going to be. What I love is in the parent-teacher conferences, I wasn't here that day, but I did see a few after. And what was really nice is students actually understand the data and what it means to them. They have buy-in, they understand where they need to go, they understand where they may have that gap and what they need to do. So that's really important, and was pretty powerful to see. So again, I talked about the staffing and where we are with that. So all the way up till the end of school, I'll be reviewing another walkthrough, a formal, reviewing lesson plans to see how we're doing on that, if we need PD on that, and then going through their professional goals so we can reflect on those pieces.
Okay.
And meeting with the teachers on that. We looked at Naviance, so kind of jumping to curriculum. Naviance will replace the current career cruising, And Career Cruising is the college and career planning software. So they kind of get on, they do a survey of interest, it talks about what they might like to do, and then there's some activities that go with that. Naviance works well, one, because they kind of have a lot of bells and whistles that are kind of really good for the kids to work with activities, but teachers also have lessons in there. But it also helps us with our next step plans for the counselor. So we really can look in there and have those in one place, which is really important because, you know, SPED uses them, goals, and sets things in there. So the other thing that's really nice is Naviance works really well with PowerSchool because it's kind of housed by PowerSchool. But, you know, the integration of communication of students and information back and forth is easier because it's housed that way. The other nice thing is Naviance has like 3D tours of colleges. They can apply on there for national scholarships. We can even upload local scholarships, and that would be the place where they would go and apply. So there's some really good functions of having that. So that will be what we will move to for next year.
Is it quite a bit of work to switch over?
Well, it's not that much work. It's just that we have to have a little bit of a head start so that they can pull the students from the system, and we're working on that. So that shouldn't be too big a deal. Yeah. Looking at other software, so I think I remember telling you that my son works for a company called IDEUM, and they have donated a virtual touchscreen table. Okay. And so what I want to do with that is, one, use Naviance on there so the students can get in groups during their college and career courses and actually do a 3D virtual, you know, college tours. And I want to see if we can look into a software called Work Tour. Now, Work Tour, it's like a bunch of businesses. So for one, it might be like a plant, right? A producing plant. And the kids can go into the plant and they can look at the layout of what the business looks like, and then they can listen in on interviews by staff that work there, what's expected of them, those kinds of things. So that's something they can use with the interactive table.
Are these programs assuming that the kids are going to college, or do they include vocational types?
So on Naviance, there are some vocational things. Work Tour, it depends on what business you look on, but it kind of houses everything. But what I did want to do, and I was looking at a company that has software for vocational, okay? So like welding, and it's all virtual. So they can actually go in and kind of play with the system and look through some of those things and see what it looks like. So that's really the idea behind that touch table, is to really make it virtual and bring it to life for the kids and go through those pieces using all what we have, all the
Do we
technology.
have the touch table now?
We don't have it now, it's being built, but I'm told that it should be probably ready right after spring break.
I want to see it.
Okay.
It sounds really cool.
Yeah, most definitely. I'm really excited. It'll come on a riser, so it's probably about maybe that big. And it will run, so we can use it as a table, flat table, so people can go on it, or they can use it as an incline, or they can use it like that whiteboard, just vertical. So there's different things we can do with it, AI. So all of those things are the capability of that touchscreen. And Barry will help us with all the software and everything, so that'll be fun.
That's news to me.
She kind of had an idea, but those are things we're looking into for that. Students just completed their 9 weeks, their student-led conferences. The attendance was really good, solid attendance. Just like Jamie said, they talked about their MAP data progress, and what they need to do. They're making daily goals. I do walk into SSL, MS Plus, advisory, and I do see them writing down, this is what I'm doing for the day and how that works. So, and then they'll be starting their new 21st century classes tomorrow. So, yeah, like PE, like making the switch from global studies to PE to any of those classes that they have. Celebration. So plagiarism, Karen told me, I was very happy. It appears that plagiarism is on the decline. So making it very, straightforward. Hey, we're not going to accept this. We're not doing this. You're going to get a write-up. You could get zeros. And then again, still working on the turn it in for next year.
How do they measure that it's on the decline?
Checking.
She
You
spot
go through
checks.
and you check.
She spot checks.
Yeah.
You
'Cause
just
you
take
wanna know-
segments and Google them and, or like how do you?
Well, so Edgenuity does catch a certain amount of it.
Okay.
And so it will say right there, plagiarism has been detected in this answer. What they
In your
don't,
software.
yeah, our online content quite often is not checked by Edgenuity, and kids love to either they copy and paste the vocabulary, or they take whatever online content they were given, and instead of looking for what the answer is and putting it in their own words, they just copy and paste what the lesson was, So it's just stuff like that, just, good practices. And, really since COVID, we kind of got away from that because everything was kind of softer and lessened. And so in the fall, May and I started checking the plagiarism. And then since I've kind of continued to just spot check this spring, I'm through high school and starting into middle school now, just to make sure not only that the kids are, but that it's really checking that the teachers are checking that whether kids are plagiarizing or not. And we used to do that from the beginning, and it's just
Are you
making
familiar?
sure everybody's operating with integrity. And when I don't know, I do put it into a plagiarism checker.
Are you familiar with Turnitin or other programs like that? That you
Grammarly.
automatically check?
Turn it in,
Yeah.
Grammarly.
So that catches a lot of it.
Yeah, but you still have to check whether people are checking it, are they doing it?
Yeah.
If you don't
The
actually get in there and
teachers
look
are
and
checking
see,
it.
then
Yeah.
you just don't, and that's happened to us a few times. When we don't, inevitably, there's, a few students and a few teachers that are just, they don't check, nah, it's fine, we don't need to,
When I was teaching, what it would do is it'd give me a percentage of the content that they could find on the internet.
Right.
And so, if it was like 25% or less, I didn't worry about it because you need some, but if it was over 50%, I'd talk to them about it,
Yeah.
So, it gives you a good idea what you need to do.
And it's more like they're kind of, we consider plagiarism when they, use their vocabulary for answers, like over and over and over. Every answer is vocabulary from the lesson,
Yeah.
or they do nonsense, just on the keys, IDK,
So they
that
can move
kind of
forward.
stuff. And,
Oh, so just to fill something.
they fill it in, and then Edgenuity goes 100%, woo!
Yeah.
There's no checking for plagiarism. So it's twofold, because we consider that plagiarism because it's like cheating. It's like we
Sure.
want you to engage with the material. So, you talk to the parents and the kids first before you give them lunch. If they keep doing it, they get lunch detention. And, we have, our discipline policy goes step by step.
It's an
on what we do.
opportunity for learning for the students.
Absolutely. And how do you do online curriculum with integrity? Because, if you're just gonna do that, well, you're not doing the best you can. You're not engaging with the curriculum.
I'm
And
glad
it's
you
so
brought
much
that up
better.
because Kenny asked me about that.
Yeah.
He said, are they doing better with that stuff? He was going on and on. He said, I didn't like that. And he gave them this soapbox about it. And I think that was very
When they were
important.
younger, it was a time when they were here, it was a time that we were pretty diligent about checking.
Yeah.
And we didn't have plagiarism checkers back then. So,
So-
it wasn't included in Edgenuity.
And so that's one of the things when we do the turn it in for next year, then we're actually putting it on the students more too, so that
Sure.
they have an understanding how to read the report, what does it look like, what is that telling me? What do I need to fix, how do I do it? Instead of just sort of saying, hey, this is plagiarism, and they're kind of like, well, I don't really know if I know what that means, and doing those kinds of things. So hopefully that will help us to really work on the performance tasks and the essays that are in Edgenuity, because they like to skip those things because it's work to write, right? So, if we can't do a plagiarism check because they don't have enough information, then we can say that. I think we need to rewrite this because I can't check it, which means you didn't give me enough information. So it kind of stops them from that as well, and really knowing, how much is sufficient and what to look for. So with those pieces, I'm hoping that we will definitely grow further. Definitely see the scores rise. And that was another celebration, as Jamie said, that the MAP scores appear to be on the rise, and kids are really focused on it and really working towards meeting those goals.
So I think I asked this a couple meetings ago. Is the state providing any guidance on artificial intelligence in education?
Not that I know of at this point. Yeah,
It's
no.
amazing.
I
Because it's going to be about, teaching students how to interrogate, use AI to their benefit, how to ask the right questions, or how to be able to, we're kind of getting past all the, yeah.
And I think it's something that as PD, as we do data, we're collecting all this stuff here and taking a look, it's something that we as a school and as teachers and, is really developing me as kind of the instructional coach, developing where do I get that from? Where do we start? What do teachers need? So those are the things I've already started, like maybe, what do I want to plan for next year's PDs, and what do I want that to look like? How long does it take? Those kinds of things. And just your basic stuff like classroom management things. What are some strategies you can try? How do you go about asking students the right questions without giving them the answer and guiding them there? Those are all pieces that you are really effective in helping students grow and helping teachers grow, so that, sometimes we're very quick to say, oh, this is what it is, That's not what we want. We want them to use all the resources around them, but also use, the questioning to kind of get there. This is all part of problem solving and critical thinking, which Edge won't give you, unless you're pushed to have it. It gives you the curriculum, which is fantastic, but we still need some of those other pieces.
It's teaching.
It's teaching.
I have a question. How did the wrestlers do at state? Did they go already?
They did go already, and the two that we had, they didn't make it, but they placed 19th overall, I think is what I saw. Yeah.
I was glad to see that representation at the state level.
Yeah, that's really cool. Really cool.
Okay, you have anything else, May?
No, do you guys have any other questions?
Thank you.
Yeah,
Appreciate
sure.
the work you're doing. Yeah.
Thank you.
Laura, I noticed you sent you a couple emails to try to get, so that we could have some comparisons to see where our students are.
Yeah. And Jamie kind of gave you a little bit of that, but we're gonna have to go back further, and I recognize we need to go back if we want to do a few more years. She kind of gave you the basic of what that is. The other comparison I think that I talked about last time that I really want to work on is what do the finals look like, the scores, and how are we progressing, or where are those looking like as well?
I'm also interested, in seeing how we compare with the rest of the state and nationally too, to just see where we are.
So I have a question, because I did not know about this, but are you talking about testing score, like standardized testing scores? Are you talking about internal math
We just
scores?
want something where we can look at it and see how our students are in comparison to other students, and see whether we're advancing or whether we're going back.
Right.
We need it simplified for us.
Yeah.
that
So
we can
there's the three different, so Jamie kind of gave you a good picture using
Right.
maps. So the next thing we would have to do is go back and disaggregate the data for the state testing that she talked about.
Right.
So we can do that, but we won't be able to do that till we have the results for this year. So that might not be till the summer, because the state's really slow.
I just feel like the board needs some way to follow the
Sure.
academic progress,
Yeah.
so that we know what's going on. So-
The best way, to be honest, is not by state testing, because it comes once a year.
Yeah.
And we only have one set of data because of COVID, and now the 2 years after, we don't have any data. So there's, but watching the MAP scores, and Jamie can do, if you're wanting, like she just did from 1 year to the next,
Right.
like winter to winter.
That's good.
We do it 3 times a year. So you can see internal, that we made progress from the beginning of the year to the middle of the year. Then at the end of the year, of course, our hope is that we even do more, right? That's one way of looking at it. But another way is to look at, where were we last winter and where are we this winter,
Right, exactly.
right? that's what that chart was. I have it here as well. That's what you saw.
Right.
Now, if you want to go back years, she can do that as well. I can tell you, it's not pretty. Last year was completely flatlined. Remember I told you guys last year, our scores completely stayed no growth. And the year before that, we made growth, but the scores were so low, it's just not hardly, it was coming out of COVID. Basically.
Yeah. And COVID messed all that up.
And COVID messed all that up. So it's interesting to see, Jamie shared this with the staff. The interesting thing is to see also when fifth graders come in, how low they are and where we bring them a little bit the first year. They're getting used to how we do business here. By the second year, by sixth grade, they make huge gains.
Right.
And then seventh and eighth graders, they do what they do. But then when you start looking at the high school, going from seventh and eighth grade up to 12th grade, you see just a straight line trajectory. And that, when you're looking at math scores, then you can see within the year or within 2 years time frame. But I would, Jamie has all that data, so if you guys want specific time frames, she can tell you what those time frames are. Standardized testing, when we rank, it's harder because it comes so much later. But we rank, that's ranked nationally, and so we're ranked by US News and World Report. And
What's that based on?
it's based on SAT scores and college and career readiness. So it's a high school thing. Although one year we did make it in the middle school. I have no idea what they based that on.
Yeah.
Well, no,
Universities don't know what they
honestly.
base it on either. You know?
It might have been Nate, because they do 8th grade. I don't know.
Well, no, because that's not given to every school. Yeah, every school's listed. So I don't know. We only got it 1 year, and I didn't bother to look. I
So-
just celebrated with them.
So Laura, does that address your concerns?
Yeah, it does. Thank you.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
No, go
Tracy.
ahead.
Just to say, I'll talk with Jamie, because I like to work with the data too, but I think one of the good things is, like Tracy said, starting, like, what does it look like when they come in? So fall to spring first, and then in the following years, prior years, going spring to spring. The end result was
Right.
at every spring to see that growth as well.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So we do this every year. And we do right now. That's why I had Jamie present it to you from winter to winter. So every year when you've evaluated me, you've seen winter to winter. And then in the spring, Jamie will share with you spring to finalize that.
Okay.
So Laura, you'll continue to hear that reporting for map scores, which are taken 3 times a year.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. So, yeah.
Okay.
And if there's something specific that, you're wondering about, please ask, because we have so much data out of this school. It's kind of overwhelming. But,
Okay. Excellent. Thank you so much.
yeah, you're welcome.
Okay. Tracy, it's up to you.
And my computer's black. Hold on. Okay. There's one. So, facility things, we're working on bids for landscaping. Of course, it's getting that time of year. The snow would hold off. Parking lot upgrades, that's for the high school parking lot and the new one that's going in for the wellness building. And then completing the amphitheater with
The sales.
the sales that I've been telling you about for at least 2 years. Maybe we'll get a bid that's not $100,000. The courtyard sales are going up April 10th, between the 10th and the 14th.
Courtyard, what?
courtyard sales, the sales,
Oh, yeah.
That's up
covers,
above the
the covers
amphitheater there.
above the court,
Shade structures.
shade structures. The wellness building should hopefully be finished by the spring.
Are we gonna have a nurse?
We are not going to have a nurse. No. And then we're just waiting for that security funding to come from the legislature on the fobs, the internal door fobs. So we're just. Wait,
I'll let you know if I see something.
you see something come through? She usually calls me, or she has the last few years. Budget, waiting for the legislative session to end. To know kind of what our budget will look like and where we'll be and basically right now in the legislature, there's definitely an increase for, there's a projected increase for staff and overall budget, so our SCG overall. And that's because of the changes in at-risk. We know that's gonna help this school. Not hugely, but it's gonna help. But you know, with all legislative stuff, it just depends on what's all signed. Just going back to budget, May gave me a proposal recently in the last few days, just of what she's seeing and what she would like to see as far as staffing is concerned. So we'll be working on that here in the spring. Facility, I'm going to go back to facility for a second. So this has been an interesting journey with the town of Taos. And basically, we went to the town of Taos because they were not going to sign off on our new building so that they could finish. So the contractors could finish. And so the engineer and the architect went with Jose and I. And I brought the statute, said, no, we are a public school. We don't pay for things like road studies and permitting and so forth and so on. They said, nope, we're making you do this. And I said, nope.
Do you mind if I ask who at the town?
Yep, it was Dinah in planning and zoning. Dinah is who got this started, and then she had a team of two lawyers and and the new planning and zoning manager, I think his title is. Yeah, that's who was at the table. I didn't know lawyers were going to be involved. I would have brought ours if I knew, because I didn't know. I thought this was a discussion to have between community partners. No, it was not. So I left. I didn't. I started to walk out, and I turned around and I said, by the way, did you put the same stipulations on Taos schools for the new gym? And everybody went silent. Every head went like this, Dinah. She wouldn't speak anymore. And the new guy, the old tall bald guy, Evans is his last name. Evans. He said, "Ma'am, we're trying to work with you."
Oh, really?
Any man that calls me ma'am probably didn't go very far. So I said, if you don't do it for town schools, you can't make us do it either. You'll be talking to the lawyer tomorrow. So I left. I called PSFA. They said, nope, you don't have to go through planning and zoning. This is CID, which we've known. We put in 4 buildings. We know the rules here. So then CID got involved, and he said, we're not going to do anything right now, but if they red tag you, call me. They red tagged us the next day.
So we had a discussion a little earlier about the state of the town, which we do not need to exempt from our meeting because it relates to what's going on in the school. this is why the town this is why everyone is suffering, because of this very attitude from the town. And I've told the mayor to his face.
I heard something about some stuff coming to the mayor. That was last week. So now there is CID lawyers and the town lawyers are now hashing this out. This is, not us. It's
By the way, the
state.
town lawyer quit because he couldn't
The
take it
town
anymore.
lawyer. This is planning and zoning lawyer. I don't know if it's the same
It was the
one.
lawyer for the town quit
Oh.
because of this very stuff,
Oh,
where he's like, I
What?
can't do my job because.
because of the stuff. Well, so, they're hashing it out. At the first day, they had a meeting, hashed it out. CID called me, the head of CID called me and said, well, do you own Taos Academy?
Oh my God.
No, I do not. And he said, well, they said you own Taos Academy, that your name, Tracy Phyllis, is on it. I said, well, awesome, then I'll sell it for $8 million. No, we don't own it. So anyway, we had a good laugh about this one. You guys might like to hear that. Hence, they met again today. They wanted to see our lease purchase agreement. I sent it all down to them, all the signatures we had to do back when we did that, which was in 2016. So here we sit with a red tag until, and CID has asked us to just be patient and let their lawyers, but in the end, if they won't give up, they're gonna pull a red tag and sue the town, the state. I'm like, you guys do what you need to do. I'm gonna sit over here and twiddle my
Well,
thumbs.
it's nice to have their lawyers rather than our lawyers.
Right.
And
That's
this is,
too fast.
it's so ridiculous.
Is it?
Yes, I
Hey, and Sam, I forgot, it was Dan Hill who did our lease to purchase agreement in 2016.
Is it really?
Yes.
Oh, that's funny.
Funny. I didn't know that.
Very funny. And is it PSFA?
So PSFA started and then CID took over.
I see. Okay.
So you've done 4 buildings here. You hadn't had to go through any of this. All of a sudden, for some reason, the town has taken this different stance, but yet they can't actually explain why.
I know why.
Why?
Because they want us to put in a turning lane. And the only way to do that is to make us go through a special use permit and get a traffic study, which would cost about 20 grand to put in a turning lane. No, there's motive behind this, for sure. So, there you go.
But the town wants the turning lane, but it's a county road. It's one county road.
This one is?
Are you sure?
It's a county maintained.
Yeah, but this property is.
The property's in the town limits.
Oh.
We are in the town limits, but the road is a county road.
Oh,
It's not a town road, maintained road. The county
well, it
maintains
was really clear to me in that meeting, they want me to do a traffic study. Like, it wasn't even hidden agenda. It was pretty much.
That's
you
what
have
we
to do a
want in
traffic
order
agenda.
to give you.
Oh, and by
what
the way,
you
you
want.
gotta do an SUP to do the traffic agenda.
Yeah, and that's a kind of a nightmare process too, yeah, okay.
Yeah, so anyway,
Well, you make
it's
me
a can
glad,
of worms.
you make me glad I'm not you.
Yeah,
Me too,
sometimes-
Dean.
Sometimes
Me
I'm like, yeah, how do I get myself in these things? I just get in the pool, right? In the bees now.
Yeah,
Every
really.
time.
Okay, anything on legislation you wanna talk about? Or-
No, there's not really any.
We already talked about the one
team.
money that we might get, That's it for legislation.
Like the at-risk,
There
yeah.
There aren't any other bills that will affect charter schools or anything?
No, there's a pretty big bill going through, about, I'm just gonna get the name of it because Sam just told me. It's House Bill 365. It has to do with the, new support for the PEC. Remember, the PEC is who, authorizes state charter schools. And they have been regulated, sort of, there's this weird relationship between the PED Charter Schools Division and the PEC. But they fight a lot, and it's not a healthy relationship, so that the PEC has asked for a, I don't know, Sam, what do you call it, like a support body or support staffing, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think they're just like, they're currently a component unit of the, and so I think they just want to be in charge of their, like that, their few percent. They also want to hire their own. I did see that the bill ended, but like when it was context, that's what.
A little bit of that, but I think the big thing is that it would give the PEC a chance to hire their own staff and have their own
Right.
regulating body. So, we'll see.
And
That's,
then there'll
Kelly's
just
saying
be
yes.
more cuts.
that would affect charter schools a lot, but it might be for the better. I don't know. I don't know that it would necessarily change a whole lot. There won't be fighting between the PED and the PEC.
Okay, anything else?
Let's see. No, nope, that's all I got.
Okay. Next thing is monthly calendar. You got, let's see. What we have this month, we have our meeting on the 29th. Anything else we need to be aware of?
So April 24th is the site visit from the Pete, speaking of the
Yes.
SDPD. April 24th.
And Sam and Karen are gonna do that
Okay,
virtually.
okay, great.
I found that whole email to be so confusing because they were basically like, see you at this thing, but not too many of you show up, please.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. We can't have a quorum because of the open meetings law. We can't have a quorum.
So thank you for doing that.
Yeah.
Who's thrown up Sam and?
And Karen.
Oh, okay.
Okay, I guess it's time for executive session for personnel matters.
Yeah.
So I guess we'll just have the board here and nobody else.
Okay. And I need to stop the recording, okay?
Right, so 6:54.
Actually, wait to do it after the, Mary, wait to do it after the vote.
I know.
Oh.
I have to get you to do your motion and then I can
Okay.
do the.
I'll entertain a
Yeah.
motion to go into executive session for the discussion of personnel matters.
So move.
Second.
Need to roll call.
And roll call. Karen?
Yeah, Dean,
Yes.
Laura,
Yes.
Martin,
Yes.
Karen. You'll go ahead and I'll catch up with you.
Do you need to
Okay,
stream?
I'll entertain a motion to come out of executive session.
I'll motion to come out of executive session.
Second.
Okay, we have a first and a second. Need a roll call?
You want me to do it, Tracy?
Oh, sorry, I'm not in it. Dean,
Yes.
Karen,
Yes.
Martin,
Yes.
Sam.
Yes.
You aren't there anymore, are you, Laura?
Jeez, I don't see her.
Okay, we need to vote on the policies.
We're on G, sir.
What'd you call me?
Sir.
G, sir.
G, sir?
We're on letter G, sir.
Yeah. Well, you remember what Tracy said about being called Bam?
I know, I kind of, I was like, she just said so.
She said it with a smile, though. I was trying to be polite for a correction. Yeah.
Okay, policy changes is.
Wait, hang on, because we have to,
I know, but we have to table it.
We have to table G.
Oh, yeah. We vote on executive.
right, Karen moves to come
Yeah,
out of closed session. And the roll call, matters discussed during the closed session were limited to those specific in the motion for closure.
Yeah, just say
Right now,
that.
is G the same as closed session? We got closed session, executive session, closed session, and then again, closed set, vote
Do
on
we have to vote again
Executive.
then?
session.
You have to vote to go into closed session and then
you have to vote to come out of
closed session.
And yet, there's
And then G.
still G says, vote on executive session matter.
Right,
You already did it. Is that extraneous?
Okay, we're gonna,
Okay.
yeah,
Seems extraneous. Okay.
We don't have anything to vote on. It was just an action to take from the result of the.
No action was taken. Thank you, Sam. Okay.
You're
I'm just
welcome.
gonna put no action was taken,
okay,
right? No action was taken?
no action was
Correct.
taken.
Okay, thank you.
Wait, I have a question then. So, did you not vote on my contract
Not yet, we're gonna do it at the retreat.
on the 29th?
Yeah, we wanted to have some more time to think about the evaluation. Okay, policy changes. Did everybody have a chance to look at the policies? I went through them very quickly, so I'll entertain a motion to approve the policies as they were presented.
I'll motion to approve the policies as they were presented.
Second?
I'll second.
Okay.
Nope.
First and second, we need a roll call.
Dean,
Yes.
Martin,
Yes.
Sam,
Yes.
Yes.
and Karen.
Yes.
Okay, now, anything for the next board meeting? There's something I was thinking of earlier, we have to make sure we have on the agenda for the next board meeting. Oh, one thing we didn't discuss tonight was a new board member, because I'll be leaving in 3 months, so.
You're seeing the next board meeting for April?
Yeah, so we need to discuss a new board member. Who might it be? And I hope somebody can come up with some good people, It's always a pain to find somebody really good. We've been lucky with the people we've gotten.
Speaking of board members, Tracy, is Sue or someone coming up with a provision all charter schools need to come up with? You might want to mute me. Mute your computer so you can hear me. Oh, thank you. Is Sue, the attorney, or someone coming up with the provision that all schools have to adopt by June 30 about what happens if all board members leave? And I think there was maybe one other provision for the PEC. I've just been thinking about that.
You need to say it again.
Oh, I've never heard of that.
Oh, I'll send it to you. It's something new and fun.
From the PEC or from?
The PEC. It's a request to update by June 30. We can talk more about it.
Hold on. Say that again, Dean.
Okay, anything else for the April board meeting?
I have planned the finals lunch because we
Okay.
do that in May. We have the budget review and the calendar review.
Okay. And May will bring the calendar review to us, or.
Approve the calendar
Right.
in May.
Right, that's the calendar for all of Taos Academy, not our.
Right.
But it includes our board calendar, yeah. Okay, there was something else I was thinking of earlier, and I should have written it down, but I didn't, so. If I think of it, I'll give Pamela a call and let her know.
Yeah. Anything from the strategic planning that would be in the April meeting?
We can always add that after the strategic planning, because as long as we have it in 72 hours before, we're okay. So
Okay.
we can talk about that at the strategic planning meeting.
Okay.
We really don't know until we've had the meeting,
That's true.
Okay, anything else? All entertained. Martin's all ready to make
Make a motion to adjourn.
He's ready to go.
Do I- do I have
Karen
a
says second.
Karen second.
After you. punch
Did
her
you
on the
know,
ass.
fun fact, that you don't actually have to motion end a meeting, you can just adjourn?
Oh, we didn't know
You
Mr.
don't
that.
have to
Chairman.
motion? No, we've always done it that
Roll
way.
call?
No,
So,
you call the meeting to order and then at the end you just adjourn. We don't vote to start. the meeting.
hey, that's my role. I don't get that role for very much longer. Let me do it now.
Right. Cool.
Thank you for the food.
Betcha. Anytime.
Thanks, you guys.
Sam, we'll
Thank
talk
you.
soon.
See you
Thank you,
later.
Sue.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you, bye.